Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today I want to go over 10 plus things that are some of my favorite gear and gadgets that I started using over 2023. Let's get into it. Alright, we're going to get into this gear in no particular order. But before, I need to preface it with one thing. This is all gear that you don't necessarily need. Some of it is some stuff that you probably should carry, at least something like it with you on your trip. But for the most part, all this stuff is extra, stuff that I've just enjoyed using over the last year. And so I want this to be kind of like a relaxed, stress-free video. I go through a lot of gear, I try out a lot of gear, and I enjoy doing that. And so as we kind of cover all this stuff, just know this is not something that I'm saying like, you need this to be a good overlander. It's nothing like that. Look, you may come away with this video with not wanting any of it. You may come away with this video being like, hey, that's pretty cool, I'll pick it up. But regardless, I just wanted to preface the video with that. Now, the first one that I want to talk about are these Rocklights. I added 5 of these to my TACOMA this year. These are 12 volt lights that you can hook up with like an inline fuse or to some kind of fuse distribution block. I've got a Blue Sea Systems fuse block that is hooked up to my dual battery system. And I've got one of these that is placed on the rear of my camper shell over the hatch that opens up over the tailgate just to illuminate that space when we get to camp. I want to cook dinner there. Super bright, love the color science, 5,000 Kelvin on these, just like the perfect color. On the sides of the roof rack, I've got 2 on each side, and those can illuminate the trail for my kids. They can look out the window while we're on the trail at night, or when we get to camp, I've got a nice illuminated area so I can keep a good eye on them while they're playing. I absolutely love these. There are definitely cheaper options out there, but these are my favorite by far. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the Dometic water system. Now it comes in this little carry pouch. You've got a little rechargeable water pump that has a little hose that hooks up to the back of it and then attaches to the 11-liter water jug with this little quick disconnect right here. And so you just plug that in there, open up the little breather here on the cap, and then you're ready to go. And then just with 2 taps on the top, you got water. And when one tap to just turn it off. Now it's kind of funny, I just for full transparency here, the end of the hose actually, this hasn't happened before, but broke off tonight while I was messing with it. So I'll probably have to order a new hose. So I had my eye on that for a while and decided to pick it up because for one of our longer trips this summer, I needed another water container. I used to have 2 Scepter cans, and one of them got stolen this year. What I really like about it is I use so much less water than I used to. And besides that first longer trip, this is the only water container I've taken. And in fact, most trips, I do not use a ton of water. I've been trying to do more cooking that requires less dishes and stuff like that. And so I use a minimal amount of water, but this 11-liter jug will usually last me 2 weekend camping trips. And so I think that's crazy because that's far less water than I'm used to using. But just the way it works and the amount of water it puts out, it's like just gives you the perfect amount, and you're able to, as soon as you have enough of what you need, just turn it off. So it conserves a lot of water, which is super handy when you're in remote places. So I really, really like this system. All right, the next up, just since I already have it out, you just saw it in that last clip, the electric Joule. This is an electric kettle, and this is what I use for making coffee most mornings now. And sometimes I cook dinner with it. Like on a recent trip a couple months ago, I was out on a cold night and I made soup in it. It's just super easy. It's got 3 settings, so you got drink, eat, and pop. And so for drink, boil in water, eat, soup, stuff like that. And then pop, you can actually pop popcorn in here, which I have actually done. Really cool. It just plugs in with one of your standard like tower cables that you would use on a computer. And then obviously you're going to have some you're going to need to have some kind of power source to plug this in with. I use a power bank. So I've been using the Blue Yeti EB3A. Now this does take quite a lot of juice out of the EB3A. It runs at 500 watts, about 490 watts. And so it depends on how long you're using it for. I think I use it usually around 5, maybe 7 minutes to make coffee. And so it will take a chunk out of the Blue Yeti EB3A, which has a 268 watt hour capacity. I usually drop it down to like 65, 70%, something like that. I've got a different power bank back here. I'm not gonna pull it out right now because I'm not done reviewing it, and so I don't wanna promote it yet, but this is a 1500 watt hour by All Powers, and this will run this baby no problem and still have plenty of juice left in it. And so thought it was a pretty cool item. I've really been enjoying using it, and ever since I got this, I've used a heck of a lot less propane. And so propane's kind of expensive these days. It kind of eliminates the need of having tons of those little 1-pounder green cylinders. And I think over the last year, I do a lot of camping. Over the last year, I've bought propane once, like a little 4-pack, one time. And so it's eliminated the use of a ton of propane by just making coffee and other things with that. And also being that if I'm using a power bank or something, I can hook something like this up to solar power and just get, just free power. All right, next up, I want to talk about this flashlight. This is the Woven X1 Falcon in black. This thing is a chunky flashlight. It is by no means any kind of EDC flashlight. It is USB rechargeable, but the thing puts out 10,000 lumens. It might be more. I'll check and I'll let you know right down here at the bottom of the screen. But this thing is crazy bright. I've actually shown you guys this light in a couple videos when I was out on camping trips, and the thing is crazy. It's nearly as bright as my Baja Designs 20-inch light bar, and so super awesome. I like using this for like in the middle of the night when you hear like a sound and you're like, oh, what is that? You just fire this thing on and you can see the entire forest. It's pretty cool. Next up, let's talk about this guy. This is the Midland GMRS Radio MXT275. I really, really like this radio. I came from using one of those Baofan BF8HP, I think is what it was called. One of those cheap Chinese radios that are great for when you're starting and you have like a really low budget. I'm not talking down on those by any means, but they're kind of annoying where to place, and even when I had like a good mount for it, it still was like always like turning the walkie-talkie on, and it just never worked out well. But this has got much better range, it's much clearer, and then it's kind of like all in one. So all I've got right here is the handheld unit. There is a base that's mounted in my truck, but everything control-wise is right here. And so I really like that. The Midland radios, they just work well. They're clear, and there's nothing you really need to do. They're just, you install them. They're super easy to install. Turn them on and go. You've got all the channels pre-programmed in there for the GMRS frequencies, and I absolutely love it. I don't think I could ever go back to a regular like handheld radio again. I think hard mounted for life, for sure. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is my propane fire pit. Now I've got the Outland Living. It's like a cube shaped, super packable, puts out a ton of heat. And at this day and age, with all the fire restrictions across the country, I really think these propane fire pits are the way to go. For me, it's just not camping without a fire, and so I just want to know that in most situations, I'm going to be able to have one. It just really is one of my favorite things about camping, is sitting around the campfire with friends and family and looking up at the stars. It's just my favorite time of day when we're out on a trip like that. Now look, I know nothing beats an old school fire, and every once in a while we get to have one of those, given it being the right time of year at the right place. But for the most part, most of the areas that we visit nowadays, you really can't do it. And so, look, I'm not saying you got to buy mine, but just take a look at them. There's a lot of really great ones out there. There's even a $1,300 if you've got a ton of disposable income. There's apparently some really amazing fire pit that is worth $1,300. Mine costs like 90 bucks, works really good. So there's that. I talk this up all the time. Garmin inReach Mini. This is like the OG inReach Mini. And I've probably said this a bunch of times now. I probably should upgrade to the newer one. I just haven't yet, but I love this thing. I started using this in a new way this year. There is a map share link that you can share with people. And now that I've got both kids going with me, and we got a baby coming in about 2 months now, I always share that map share link with my buddies and my wife, just so that they can follow my GPS data in real time. I just think that's such a big thing, especially when you're out there with your little ones. I always let people know, hey, this is where I'm going. This is what time you can expect to hear a check-in from me. And if they don't, like my buddy Ryan always says, he's like, if I don't hear from you, I will come get you. And he's got my real-time GPS data in there. It just makes me feel so much more secure taking the kids out on my own. It also has a message function in here where I can use my phone via Bluetooth and message my wife, send like short text messages to her. But it's been kind of inconsistent. And so that's kind of why I want to upgrade to the new one. But regardless, I think these things are a must-have. I think it would work in case of emergency. I've never had to test the SOS, and it's only there if you really, really need it. But I'm so glad that I have something like this when I'm out there with the kids. Okay, so I think I've got 5 more things that I want to go over with you guys. So I definitely think we're going to be over 10. But the next 2 will kind of bunch into one. Now, something I've been saying recently is besides stuff that can get you out there and get you home safe, I couldn't imagine a better thing to add to your gear kit than a good camera. I've got the Sony a7R III. I love this camera. I bought it used for $1,000, and that is a really good deal on a camera like this. And the price of these things have gone down a lot over the years. Now, I've started a second YouTube channel where I'm going to be talking about photography gear because that's something that I really, really like. But something as like an overlander, camper, adventure seeker, you see so many amazing things, places, animals, experiences with other people that just, if you could learn how to use one of these, and I mean like truly learn how to use one of these, some of the images and the things that you can like eternalize are just amazing. Over the last 12 years, I've been doing this and I've been photographing it and taking videos, and I just am so happy that I have done that. And I've got all these memories to look back on. And so something to consider. Look, I am starting a second YouTube channel where I'm going to be covering photography gear. And if you want to learn how to use one of these, I mean, truly use one of these, follow me over on that channel. I will eventually start putting out content, and it's going to be geared towards people that haven't learned how to use these things, specifically in like the outdoor space, because that's what I'm passionate about. It's not something I'm taking seriously. It's just a passion project, and I think it'll be super fun to talk about this kind of stuff. The next one that I'm going to talk about is this little drone here. This little drone here, like, really kind of sparked my creative interest this year with making videos again. About late summer, I had a different drone. This one is the DJI Air 2S, and I had the DJI Air 2, and I crashed it, and I broke it. And at that time, I was like, you know what? I'm done with drones. I'm not going to buy another one. But then I was like, you know what? I like making these videos. I'm going to give drones another shot, and I bought this one. And I am so glad I did, because this drone is amazing. It shoots at 5.4K resolution, and for somebody like me, that's really important, because a lot of these images that I'm capturing, I'm driving and I'm focusing on being a safe driver, but I'm trying to capture these epic shots. Well, at that 5.4K resolution, I'm able to crop those shots, and if I didn't get the shot right, sometimes I'm able to kind of move where I want the video framed to get the shot right. That way I can focus on making sure that I'm driving safely and stuff like that, without being too worried about the image, because with the 5.4K resolution and the incredible picture that this thing gets, I'm able to just really get some, what I think are some really dynamic shots, some really, really cool stuff. And it has really, really made me excited about making videos again. And so I know that was kind of like a photo video rant. That's something that I love doing on these trips. I mean, if that's something that you're interested in, like I said, follow me on that other YouTube channel or shoot me a DM. Let's talk about this kind of stuff. Something I really, really love doing in these amazing and beautiful places. Okay, so the next one's a little bit more on the important side. This is a car jump starter, and this is one of those little portable batteries. This is the Noco Boost Plus GB40, 12 volt, 1000 amp. These things are pretty cool, and so fully charged right now. Haven't had to use this one, but earlier this year we were at Monachi Meadows, and I had just bought a brand new Odyssey battery that I felt very confident with, but I had actually also just installed a winch, and there was a little bit of a parasitic draw from it. And the day before we left, my kids were in the front seat, and I think they were turning on like my light bars and stuff. And so the battery had kind of drained, and I didn't have one of these. I had jumper cables, and I do have a dual battery system, so I would have been okay. But my buddy Ryan had one of these, and he pulled it out. We hooked it up, jumped the truck, and we were on our way. It was super awesome. And so right after that trip, I bought one. Haven't had to use it yet, but when I do, I'm going to be glad I had it. And so really excited about this thing. Just, I don't know, pretty cool to, just so easy, so functional. It just sits in my recovery bin, and if I ever need it, it's there. Next up, I want to talk about these front runner lights. So this is one of those string lights, and I bought this off of Amazon. But essentially, this is like what you would find in a rooftop tent that had one of those LED light strips in it. I ordered this because I didn't know that my rooftop tent was going to come with one, which it did. But then I started using this for like all sorts of things, because it's got these carabiners right there. And then you've got the loops, the little Velcro loops on the back, so you can, you know, attach it to whatever poles your rooftop tent has. But I've used this, like strapped it to my hood while I'm working on my truck late at night and there's no light. I've used it in my camper shell. I've used it underneath the ladder of my rooftop tent, just so like underneath the rooftop tent we had lights. It's just super versatile. It's got a little touch button so that you can operate it, different levels, turn it on, turn it off. A really long USB cable, and you can plug it into like a power bank or a little brick or something like that. Now, probably my favorite item that I added to my gear kit last year was my new rooftop tent. Now, I got the Terra Firma Overland Summit Quad, which is the perfect family rooftop tent. When it opens up, 76 by 96 inches, and so it can fit my entire family of 4 in there right now comfortably. We've already taken a trip with the 4 of us. My wife doesn't come very often, but I just wanted there to be space for her for whenever she does decide to come. Usually it's just me and my kids, but heck, we got another baby on the way, and so I definitely just wanted to make sure that as I was building out my truck going forward, I was making room for all the people I wanted there on my adventures. And just having a really comfortable, spacious rooftop tent over the last couple months has been a game changer. And personally, as I look back, I've noticed that I'm camping more than I have ever camped in my entire life. And I think a lot of it has to do with just having that right setup for us. And so, look, that's all I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have questions about any of this stuff, let me know down in the comments. If there's a video you would like to see me make on this channel, let me know down in the comments. If you hated this video, let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.